Former Pentagon official Lou Elizondo has just made some very interesting claims about some very interesting claims by Tulsi Gabbard, right? So Tulsi Gabbard is obviously the, director of national intelligence. She's very, very high up. And I made a video about this recently, about her comments on the Pod Force 1 episode, where she basically states, when asked and pressed about aliens and UAPs and UFOs, what she thinks about it. She basically is like, nothing that I'm not willing to share any of that information on today's episode, right? And then she's asked about the New Jersey drone situation, of course, which really took over the start of 2025, when everyone was wondering what on earth is going on in the skies of New Jersey, when there were drones and inexplicable objects, allegedly the size of SUV cars, just roaming around, and when the police tried to take them down, they would just evade capture like it was absolutely nothing. Obviously, the claims were suspicious, to say the very least, and a lot of people have had a lot of questions. And News Nation have asked Lou Elizondo about these questions because, obviously, regardless of what you think about Lou Elizondo, whether you think that he's a disinformation agent, whether you think that he's a legitimate whistleblower, whether you think that he's pro or against UAP disclosure, it's quite obvious that, he's on the side of trying to break down these comments. Otherwise he wouldn't be doing it for News Nation, right? And that's exactly what he's done in this episode. And it is a very interesting statement because obviously we're only able to speculate, and that's all I'm able to do, and that's all the comments are able to do. But Lou Elizondo, as someone who has worked in the Department of Defense, as a seasoned person in that kind of field, he would have a better idea of what she may have actually meant by reading between the lines than us just merely speculating. So we're going to take a look at what Lou had to say in today's video, and then we're going to talk about it. So here is Lou Elizondo talking about said comments.
What does the government really know about aliens and UFOs? And what's the truth about all those drone sightings over New Jersey last year? Remember that? Well, the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, just told the Pod Force 1 podcast that the truth may be out there. Take a look.
So do you believe that there could be aliens?
I honestly, like, my personal belief, I have my own views and opinions.
Right.
In this role, I got to be careful with what I share. I'm still going through and looking through what do we know and what is it that we don't know.
And the New Jersey, the strange objects over New Jersey were drones.
I still have a lot of questions around that.
Yeah.
I've heard what the public official line is. I just personally still have a lot of questions that are unanswered.
I think we all have a lot of questions. Remember, in January, the White House said there was nothing nefarious about the New Jersey drone sighting. So here's the question. What's the truth? Well, we're going to ask for...
Now, before we get into the Lou Elizondo part, it is also worth noting that Ross Coulthart of News Nation has also come forward to state that actually a lot of these drones or things up in the sky were actually from foreign adversaries, like China, for example, who would put things in the American airspace, and then in response, to not make it look like they are lacking control or unaware of what's in their skies, the American Air Force or whoever has thrown up their own drones to muddy the water to say, yes, this is our stuff, because then technically they're not lying, they're just kind of withholding the entire truth, which to me is still lying, but that's politics. But anyway, let's continue.
Former Pentagon UFO investigator Lou Elizondo to get to it. So, Lou, good to see you. What does Tulsi Gabbard know that we all don't know?
Well, I think it's important to note that Tulsi Gabbard is a very seasoned official. She cut her teeth as a combat veteran and also formerly a field grade officer. So she's not new to the world of intelligence. And I think what she's doing is exactly her due diligence. Before she makes a public statement, she wants to make sure she speaks to all of the 16 intelligence agencies, try to remove all the stovepipes as she can, and really get to the truth of the matter. The bottom line is, look, whenever you admit to the American public that we don't have complete aerodomain awareness of our skies, we don't know what's in our skies all the time, you're also tipping your hand to your adversaries that we have vulnerability. So it's really a catch-22. Tulsi is in a really difficult spot because on one hand, she does have these outstanding questions like the New Jersey drone issue. We now know there was not prosaic explanations for what occurred with every one of those quote unquote drone sightings. But at the same time, look, you've got 16 intelligence agencies that somehow it's like herding cats. You have to try to get all of them to report information to you. Yeah. And it's one heck of a bureaucracy. It really is.
You mentioned something about the danger of drones, and I hate to say this, another 9/11 style attack. I mean, can you explain to us how we prevent something like this? It's much different warfare than we've ever seen before.
Look, I'm really glad you're saying that. I think the American people would be shocked to learn that in modern warfare now, and you take the Ukraine, there have been more deaths attributed in combat to drones than artillery and infantry combined. Now think about that, right? So we are entering a completely new paradigm on how warfare is conducted. And it's really not much of a stretch to imagine some sort of foreign adversary or someone who wants to do harm to the United States or our national security, rather than using 737s, instead using much cheaper, much more affordable, and much easier to hide drones. They are already being used by drug cartels on our borders for surveillance and for smuggling drugs, and they're also being used right now in combat to kill other human beings. So I think that's a great question, and I think this is why our nation really needs a comprehensive strategy, and frankly, maybe even a national intelligence estimate done every year by the DNI, by Tulsi's people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, 100%. It's definitely a reality that we have to be talking about. Before I let you go, I got to ask you, you got former Pentagon scientist Eric Davis said there are 4 types of alien species. There are greys, Nordics, insectoids, and reptilians. I never thought I'd be saying that this morning. Should we be taking anything of this as credible?
I was a nuts and bolts guy. Unfortunately, I can't comment on biologics, but I was more of a nuts and bolts guy.
Okay, fair enough. The conversation for another day. Lou Elizondo, thanks so much. Good seeing you.
Now, I understand why they kind of leaned into the New Jersey drone situation, but there are still huge question marks over the statements that she made with regards to the NHI and alien kind of comments, right? So let's dive into that, because before they even spoke about the drones, she had this to state.
So do you believe that there could be aliens?
I honestly, like, my personal belief, I have my own views and opinions.
Right.
In this role, I got to be careful with what I share. I'm still going through and looking through what do we know and what is it that we don't know.
Now, obviously, that right there, to me, is kind of a little bit of an admission to knowing something. Yes, she doesn't outwardly say, yes, I know something, but if she didn't know something, she would say, no, we don't know anything. That's typically the way that it goes, but she didn't say that. There's something that she knows that she's not willing to share at this current time, which is fine, but I would have liked to see Lou kind of comment on that more so than the New Jersey drone situation. We know about the New Jersey drone situation, sort of. I think that would have been a far more interesting talking point, in my honest opinion. But what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. While you're down there, jump to get the hell out of that like button and subscribe. And until next time, I'll speak to you later. Peace.